There comes a stage where success on YouTube is no longer measured in views or revenue alone, but in something far more powerful: impact, control, and legacy. Because at this level, you're not just participating in the platform, you're shaping your space within it, building something that carries your identity, your thinking, your influence far beyond individual uploads. And this is where creators transition from growth to dominance. You begin to notice that the biggest names in any niche are not just consistent, they are unavoidable. Their content appears everywhere. Their ideas are referenced by others. Their style becomes recognizable. And this level of presence is not accidental. It's the result of deliberate positioning, strategic repetition, and a clear understanding of what they represent. Because dominance is not about being everywhere randomly, it's about being everywhere intentionally. At this point, your focus shifts from creating videos to owning a category, becoming the first name people think of when they hear a specific topic. And this requires more than just good content. It requires clarity, consistency, and a deep understanding of your audience's needs, because when you solve problems repeatedly and effectively, you become the default choice. But owning a niche doesn't mean limiting yourself. It means expanding intelligently, building layers around your core content, exploring related topics, collaborating with other creators, and gradually increasing your reach without losing your identity, because growth without direction leads to confusion, but growth with structure leads to authority. This is where collaboration becomes a powerful strategy, not just for exposure, but for expansion, because working with others allows you to tap into new audiences, exchange ideas, and strengthen your presence within the ecosystem, turning competitors into collaborators and creating a network that supports mutual growth. And then there's the concept of legacy, something most creators don't think about early on, but becomes increasingly important as you grow. Because eventually, you realize that your content is not just for today's audience. It's part of a larger body of work that represents your journey, your insights, your evolution. And this perspective changes how you create, making you more intentional, more thoughtful, more focused on long-term value. In Pakistan, where digital creators are still defining the future of online content, this stage offers a unique opportunity to not just follow trends, but to set them, to introduce new formats, new ideas, new standards, and in doing so, influence the direction of the entire space, something that very few people recognize but has immense potential. But with greater influence comes greater responsibility, because now your actions, your words, your content choices can shape perceptions, guide decisions, and impact others in ways you may not always see directly. And maintaining integrity at this level becomes critical, because trust, once established, becomes one of your most valuable assets. You also start thinking beyond YouTube itself, understanding that platforms can change, algorithms can evolve, but the audience you build, the trust you earn, and the systems you create can extend beyond any single platform, allowing you to adapt, expand, and continue growing regardless of external changes. And this is where diversification becomes essential, building presence across multiple platforms, creating different forms of content, exploring new opportunities, and ensuring that your growth is not dependent on a single source, but supported by a network of assets that reinforce each other. What becomes clear at this stage is that success is no longer about chasing numbers. It's about building something meaningful, something sustainable, something that reflects your understanding and continues to provide value over time. And this shift removes the pressure of constant comparison, replacing it with a sense of purpose. And when you look at your journey from the beginning to this point, you see more than just growth. You see transformation, from uncertainty to clarity, from inconsistency to structure, from effort to leverage. And this transformation is what truly defines your success. Not just what you've achieved, but who you've become in the process. And in the end, you understand one final truth. YouTube was never just about videos. It was about building something that lasts, something that grows, something that represents you in a way that continues even when you're not actively creating every single day. And that is what turns a creator into a legacy builder.